Hello, good afternoon. My name is Muharem Hrnjadovic, and the purpose of this talk is to put a project called OpenStack on your radar. So who of you has heard of OpenStack? Okay, so a couple of hands. OpenStack is a free and open source project that implements an infrastructure as a service cloud. That means a cloud that is similar to the Amazon cloud. Okay, and I just want to give you a couple of sort of pointers and to get you hopefully to a point where you want to look more into it and learn more about it. So this is the slide for the impatient. Too long, they don't read slide. So the cloud computing is the future of our industry, the future of the IT. If you look around yourself, if you look what other companies are doing, basically it's all going into the cloud computing direction one way or the other. And OpenStack is the future of cloud computing. So this morning we heard a number of times that we should not concern ourselves with the future. We should solve the next pressing problem and then basically see whether we're scaling and then solve the next pressing problem, etc. Okay. So why am I talking to you about the future? Well, because in our industry, the future is soon. So, okay, so in IT, the future is basically already around the corner. So, and if you don't concern yourself with what's coming, you'll be left behind. It's as simple as that. So I can't see the future. You probably can't either. So how do we sort of wrap our brain around what the future holds? Well, one way to do it is to draw parallels, to draw comparisons. So this is a slide that IBM put together. So 2 months ago, approximately, IBM came out and said, all cloud computing products, efforts, etc., of IBM's will be based on OpenStack. And when they came out with that announcement, they put forward this graph, and they compare the development of Linux with the development of OpenStack so far. So in the year 2000, IBM announces a $1 billion investment in Linux. So sort of IBM, they always had this sort of visionary kind of thing. And so 2 months ago, they say, okay, we choose OpenStack for all of our cloud efforts. So what you can see here is that the OpenStack project that will be 3 years young this summer basically went through a similar development like Linux, but in a much shorter period of time. So last year, the OpenStack Foundation was established, and all of the OpenStack intellectual property was transferred to the foundation. Okay. And the OpenStack Foundation is now only second to the Linux Foundation. Okay. Every major company in IT, except for Amazon and Google, joined that foundation. So the other way to sort of figure out what the future holds is to look at trends. And whichever way you look at OpenStack, at the project, whichever metric you apply, it's pointing up and sharply so, it's skyrocketing. So OpenStack is being released in 6 months cycles, and the graph on the left-hand side shows you the number of changes landed in the cycles. So the most recent cycle is called Grizzly, and you can see you can see that in Grizzly the number of changes that landed almost doubled. If you are a startup, and if you're seeking venture capital, the blue curve on the right-hand side is what your venture capitalists want to see. It's called the hockey stick. It basically shows tremendous growth. And the blue curve shows the growth of the OpenStack community. So OpenStack being an open source project, the growth of the community is one of the most important metrics for the health and the vibrancy of the community. Okay, so in the previous slide, I said the last cycle was developed by 517 developers. I mean, think about this. This is quite a force. Imagine you had 500 developers at your disposal. What you could do. Okay. So who are these developers? Are they hobbyists? Are they paid developers? Actually, it turns out all of them are professionals. And this slide shows who they are working for. And again, like if you look at these companies, it's the who's who of the IT industry. Red Hat, Rackspace, IBM, HP, Intel, VMware, Canonical, etc. Okay, so this gives you like an idea of the pace of the OpenStack project, how fast it is progressing, and what kind of the speed is picking up. Here's a couple of other indicators for momentum. So the left-hand graph is the job trends graph. So the red graph is again reminiscent of the hockey stick. It is basically the number of OpenStack experts sought after in the job market. So if you have OpenStack skills, you're a hot candidate. So this is the right-hand graph is the Google Trends graph. Basically shows what people are searching for, what people are Googling, and the blue curve is shows the demand or the searches for OpenStack. So why is that important? It basically shows you that there's a lot of public interest in OpenStack. That means there's a lot of people who are investigating it, who are learning it, who are blogging about it, who are playing with it, and once you start doing so, there's plenty of people you can ask questions, and there's plenty of answers you can find all over the internet. Okay, so this is where OpenStack stands right now. Counting with the last release, it's 330,000 lines of Python code. So this is a huge project already, and again, it is less than 3 years old. And what you can see as well are the services that this infrastructure as a service cloud provides already. So you have compute, which is similar to EC2. You have object storage, which is similar to S3. Block storage, similar to EBS. Dashboard, which is like a graphical user interface, etc. But that's not all. So again, this project is in full swing, and other features are being pursued as we speak. So, for example, if you want, there's a heat service which helps you orchestrate things in the cloud. Who of you have used CloudFormation? CloudFormation? So heat is a way to describe an entire stack that you want to materialize in the cloud. Ceilometer is about monitoring, queuing as a service, database as a service, and DNS as a service, which is similar to Amazon's Route 53. Again, you can see a lot of drive here, a lot of progress being made. The other great thing about OpenStack is this is open source, and it is Apache licensed. So this gives you a lot of deployment and operational choices. So if you're like a young startup and you don't want to bother with operational capabilities, you can consume OpenStack in a public cloud. So Rackspace offers a public cloud, as does HP. Okay. If you are one of the startups that is building infrastructure, and your build versus buy decision comes down on the build side, you can take OpenStack and deploy it in your own data center. You can have your own private cloud. This is the benefit of open and free software. And if you're like a more mature startup, if you're like in the business for 2, 3, 4 years, and if you're maybe in the range where you capture only 2% of the internet traffic, you can do this, own the base and run the spike approach. What this means is, so you already know, you already approximately know what your load looks like. So you know, you need 100 servers at any given time, and then there will be spikes. So what you can do then is, you can have your own private cloud, which is sustaining almost your entire load, and then the spikes in load or demand can be sustained by bursting into the public cloud. So best of both worlds. The other thing you can do is, and I'm hearing this a lot, like companies install their own OpenStack private cloud and just use this to materialize testing environment for developers, testing environments that are reasonably close to production. Okay, OpenStack, similarly, or in the same way as Linux is not just a project, it's an ecosystem. The same thing applies to OpenStack. So there's something to be gained, for everybody. If you're a developer, you can basically make money and gain fame. There's a lot of open jobs in OpenStack, and the best thing is this is an open source project. Okay, so you don't even have to relocate. You can get hired and just sit where you sit and work from home or from your home office. Okay. So again, OpenStack is open source. The community is great. Okay, and there's a lot of opportunity to get into it right now and basically become one of the core developers of the OpenStack. If you can be just a cloud user. You say, okay, I'm building like a website, and in the same way I would deploy to Amazon, I can learn how to deploy to OpenStack, which increases your marketable skills. If you're like more into administration, you can learn to deploy it, you can learn to operate it, optimize it, etc. Again, a highly sought after and very marketable skill. And if you're like a company or startup, you're looking to reinvent yourself, why not develop services on top of OpenStack and sell that? So there's plenty of space, plenty of room, and plenty of opportunity, regardless of where you're coming from. My last slide is this one. So there's this estimate that in the next 2 years, 14 million cloud-related jobs will be created in the industry. Think about this, 14 million. Okay, and as a case in point, this tweet that just in the last 6 months, the number of job opportunities in OpenStack grew by 81%. So again, if you're interested in working on cool tech and working on the future of the IT, now is the time. And that's all I had. Any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah? No? So it looks like OpenStack is a very interesting project. So thank you.
Thank you.